Hello, I am Aviva Lee, reporting live in Jerusalem from room 552 for Israel 24/6 TV. Today is the 6th of June 2008. Shabbat will be entering the holiest city on earth in a few hours. Welcome to this edition of Fact Not Commentary. With the continued firings of rockets and mortar shells from Gaza by Arab terrorist groups based there, the listening world expects that, sooner or later, there will in fact be collateral damage in Israel, simply due to the number of launchings into a populated area. And that is exactly what happened yesterday when Hamas again launched rockets and mortar shells into the sovereign state of Israel. The June 5th report from the Israel Defense Force spokesperson stated, and I quote, "One man, aged 52, was killed and 4 wounded shortly before noon on Thursday," end quote. The further evidence shows that Arab terrorists launched a 120mm mortar shell from the Gaza Strip. That shell hit the Nirlat paint factory in Kibbutz Nir Oz. Nir Oz is in the western Negev, southwest of Sderot. All of the wounded were evacuated to Soroka Hospital in Beersheba. Several people suffered shock and were at the scene. Officer Mickey Rosenfeld stated as well that great efforts to sustain the life and then revive the life of the dying man were made by the Mogen David Adom team, which arrived at the factory yesterday to treat the wounded. And Officer Rosenfeld further verified that in spite of their efforts, the man was pronounced dead at the scene of the attack. The official statement continued, and I quote, "Hamas claimed responsibility for the attack, saying, 'We will confront the occupier with all our means, and we will continue striking the Zionist military sites and settlements around Gaza in response to the continued aggression against our people,' end quote. And also the statement verified earlier media reports that on Tuesday of this week, 5 people, amongst which were 2 foreign workers and 2 Israeli Bedouins, sustained shrapnel injuries during a Qassam rocket attack on an Eshkol Regional Council community in the western Negev. And just on the heels of that report, the IDF notified the press here that prohibited substances had been discovered and recovered in an Israeli truck on June the 5th. The operation, which exposed the contraband, was a joint operation between the Israel Defense Force and the civil administration. During the course of that operation, 1,300 liters of sulfuric acid were uncovered on the truck at the Eliyahu crossing east of Kalkilyah. Of course, in the official statement, it was again explained that this substance is prohibited in Judea and Samaria due to its prolific use in the production of weaponry and explosives. And this morning, the Israel Defense Force spokesperson verified that IDF personnel had identified targeting and hitting a post of the Arab terrorist organization Hamas. The successful strike was made in northern Gaza following the launching of shells yesterday, for which that Arab terrorist organization took full credit. And the politicians here in Israel are still threatening a response, though none of them have defined the nature of that response. We here are fully aware that in the 6 months past, the Arab terrorists in the Gaza Strip have launched more than 2,300 rockets, mortar shells, and Katyusha-type Grad missiles at the sovereign state of Israel. In light of the public statements, even on YouTube, by some Mexican citizens who believe that Mexico will someday reclaim California, and in light of the upcoming presidential election and the prolific revisionist history being regurgitated by all advocates of terrorism, in this context it might behoove the American voters to take a long, hard look at how many rocket launchings and how much collateral damage they would be willing to suffer and endure before demanding that their elected commander-in-chief did whatever was necessary to stop an attack. I cannot help but ask what it will take before the world awakens from its dream cycle concerning those people who have lulled most of the free world into a comatose slumber with their lullabies about equality and peace, while they in fact finance, plot, and carry out acts of terror across the entire planet? Will someone in the listening world please answer that question? And that concludes this edition of Fact, Not Commentary. I am Aviva Lee, reporting live in Jerusalem from room 552 for Israel 24/6 TV. May the Almighty help this present inhabited world. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.